Hello everyone, it's Paul from This Design That. Today I'm going to share with you my top 3 accessories for the Mamiya RZ67. These can also be used on the RB and probably many other medium format cameras. So starting off with the most essential accessory for the Mamiya RZ67, and that is a strap. Now there are not actually many straps available for this, and it's because this camera is, like 40 years old. To be honest with you, at the time this was the only strap that I could find on Amazon. There were a few custom made ones on Etsy, but they were quite expensive. I think this was around 20 or 30 pounds. It was the only strap that I could find, so I didn't really have much choice but to buy it. I don't think it's the most amazing strap, but it is certainly better than no strap. It's got a very nice thick padding to it, which is one good thing. The thing that I don't like about it is that these clips, and I think it's the same with any strap that you're going to get, because of just the simple shape of the clip-on of the Mamiya, is that you can only have the strap one way or the other. So you can either have it so that it supports the camera properly when you have it horizontally, or as I've got it, you can see that it kind of hangs vertically like this. So you can either have it like this or like this. It doesn't actually swivel. You can see that those straps are not actually moving as I swivel it. This is a bit annoying really, but I mostly use the strap when I'm carrying it around, so that's why I have it like this, so it just kind of rests up against my side like this. Without the strap, I did use this for a few months. It was a bit of a pain in the ass, to be perfectly honest with you. It does weigh a ton. I did have the 180 lens on there, which was even heavier than what I've got at the moment, which is the 65mm, and I just got this literally this week, so I'm very excited to shoot with this. With the strap, it just makes it 10 times easier, especially because the process of taking pictures with something like this is much slower. So you will find yourself spending 5 to 10 minutes composing an image. It's one of the reasons why I actually like shooting medium format and I like shooting with film, is that it just slows down the process. You really do need a strap. When you are standing there, you're kind of holding this thing, you've got the strap which kind of supports the weight of it, you're trying to compose it. Without it, your arms are going to get pretty tired and it's hard to kind of stabilize it properly to compose the image. A strap is definitely the most important accessory in my opinion. I really think that you would struggle to do a full day of shooting out and about without a strap. The second most important accessory for the Mamiya is a remote shutter. Now I didn't have one of these on my last trip when I went to Singapore and I went to Bangkok. I wanted to do a lot of nighttime photography and I didn't have a remote shutter. I tried to get one in the camera markets over there and they just tried to rip me off, so I didn't actually bother buying one. I thankfully got one for my next trip that I'm going on next week. This is really, really important if you want to do any sort of nighttime photography. The reason why you need a remote shutter like this is because the camera this size, you can see the thing here, is big. The mirror inside it is also very big. Now when you take a picture, that mirror flips up and as it hits the dampers at the top, it does cause some vibration. The beauty of this is that it has a leaf shutter, so it means that the shutter is here in the lens. So what you can do is you can turn it onto mirror up operation. So you press the shutter release, the mirror will flip up, then you can wait a few seconds for the vibrations to dissipate, and then you can simply use your remote shutter to activate the actual leaf shutter in the lens, and then you hopefully minimize a lot of the vibrations that are usually picked up. I was doing a lot of nighttime shooting. I was using Ectar 100 last time at night. My shutter speeds were getting really slow and I did pick up some vibrations in the images, and I didn't have a remote shutter, so that was probably the reason, to be honest with you. Ways around it is obviously to use faster film, but if you don't want too much grain in your images, and I think you can shoot with Ectar 100 at night time. I don't think there's too much of a problem with it, as long as you've got a sturdy tripod and you've got a remote shutter. So this is essential. This cost me £4, and you can see that it's pretty long. I think it's like 1 meter in length. So you want to make sure that you've got something as long as possible, so you've just got a good amount of distance from you to the camera. You want something even longer than this, something that you can maybe wrap around the legs of your tripod, so when you're releasing it, you're not adding any sort of movement into this cable. Try and get something as long as possible. Don't get a really short one, because you might find that your movements will actually kind of be picked up still. Now, the third most important accessory is a second camera back. This is really important because you are shooting with film, and once it's in here and it's loaded, you can't take it out. If you're like me and you shoot quite slowly with film, I probably wouldn't even use a roll of film in a day. For me, once I'm out in the daytime, I'm doing shooting, I'm using maybe ISO 100 film. Once it gets to night time, I maybe want to speed things up a little bit, maybe switch to a 400 or even an 800. I can't do that if I've only got one back. I've got to use up all of the film, which I rarely do in a day of shooting, and then I've got to put in a new film. The beauty of two backs is that you could load maybe a daytime, an ISO 100, you can put an ISO 400 for nighttime, and you can just switch them out. I found this invaluable because I shoot all through the day, all through the night. I never know when I'm going to be taking a picture. It's always when I'm on holidays. It's never planned. I'm just kind of walking around and I'm just taking pictures of what I like. And also, some subject matter I feel is better in black and white. Sometimes I like to shoot in black and white. Sometimes I like to shoot in colour. Obviously, if I see something that's very beautiful and it's got amazing colours in it, I want to shoot on coloured film. If it's something more minimal, if I'm looking at maybe the tones, or maybe just simply the shape of it, if I like to shoot something a bit minimal or abstract, I'll often look at the image in black and white. What I usually do is I have one coloured and one black and white. Also, another tip is to make sure that you do just slot in a little bit of a card so you can see what roll of film that you've actually got in there, because you don't want to be opening it up to look to see what film. So always make sure, like this one for instance, I've got Hector 100, and this is actually used for night shots, and this is going to be pushed to 400. So this is just a little note that I've put to myself once it comes to actually developing it. So make sure you always put notes on your films, because you will forget, because if you're like me and you develop it 6 months later or something like that, you're never going to remember what film is what. So there we have it. Those are my 3 essential accessories for the Mamiya RZ67. If you've got any accessories that you feel are more important than this, or other things that you use, then please do let me know. I am a beginner when it comes to this camera. I've only been using it for a few years now. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of learning how to use this, and I'm still learning how to shoot with film. Any tips, any advice, please feel free to share. That is it. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll end it there.